Yeah, and then also the green and traffic shaping side. So, publishers are starting to understand how their website is impacting the carbon emissions across the internet. So I think that's an important thing. And I think they should also be looking at the carbon imprint, right? Like how their site is having a carbon imprint on the industry, what they can do to reduce that imprint, what they can also do to get some of the green media dollars that are coming from agencies directly. And, they should be evaluating things like traffic shaping to really make their whole overall auction more efficient. So I think these are three of the things that I would definitely recommend that they look at.
So from a publisher's perspective, unfortunately at this point, it is still, from what we see on the data side, beneficial to have many different paths to the SSPs, to the DSPs, and otherwise to capture more of that ad spend. Of course, this is in no way ideal for the market, and it is taking a lot more money out from the overall ad spend, which is not necessarily growing because of it, to having more middleman in the mix. So it is kind of like a cat and mouse game where, as a publisher, the more paths I have, the more of the ad spend I can capture because I have more connections to the demand side than any other publisher has, although it's all the same connections, like the total amount of DSPs, the total amount of ad spend we are both tapping into, but due to me having more paths there, I have a higher probability of getting a bigger chunk of that ad spend. So when we look at it from the publisher's perspective, that when we are sending requests to an SSP through multiple paths, it can actually hoard our score with that SSP, because now what the SSP cares about is like how much revenue can we make per, for example, million requests received. If as a publisher I'm sending 10 per opportunity, that number is very low compared to if I would only be sending 1. So what happens is that the SSP will decide to throw away the majority of the requests received, and they will run smaller auctions where less partners are being included because they see, okay, this traffic source doesn't look of that high quality. But then in return, for the users that are of high quality and where we still have good scores, having these multiple paths results in higher revenue. So the ideal scenario is for the publisher to really have, on one end, high amount of requests going out or multiple paths going out so that they can capture as much advertising spend as possible, but at the same time maintaining a very good profile in the sense of, hey, the number of requests going out are only going out when they're actually necessary. That they are requests CPM, which the SSP will see, which the DSP will see, and so on, is of good and high quality and not being hurt from sending out more requests. Now, in an ideal world, of course, the publisher would only be sending one request to one partner, and this partner would only be sending it to one partner again. And ideally and hopefully we will get to that point either through all of the carbon emission cleanup happening, all of the movement happening in terms of measuring the actual emissions. Right now it's mostly based on estimates, as well as certain moves within the industry, for example, with the Topics API from Google, or like the entire basically privacy sandbox, which is somewhat removing the existing infrastructure of how advertisements are being traded and making it all a bit more direct to the DSPs.